Kaboom.
Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of the AIB Show. This is the Mitt.
And Dominic.
Um, yeah, Dominic has switched computers or moved to a different computer, and his
This is going to
shirt
be
and hat look blue, and they're black. I don't even know how this color scheme works.
it's like those images that go viral. Like, is this dress blue and gold or white and gold or
Oh, I never even did one of those. Did you ever do one of those?
what? Of
Yeah, I just
course.
saw them. No, I didn't. Again, I don't jump onto the
There's
things that are
there's
cool
even
in the world.
audio ones.
Oh, I've never done that either.
Yeah.
Never done that either. Um, Go ahead. You have a couple. I got a couple.
Yeah, it's a quick episode.
Mm-hmm.
Call it the a Mitt bedroom episode.
I'm going to use that joke like 12 times like this past month alone.
You know what the J.R.O.T.C is?
Junior ROTC. ROTC is it's a military portion of your school situation. I don't know what it actually stands for, and then J is the junior part of it.
Yeah, Junior Reserve Officer Training Corps for high school.
Amit was supposed to be in the ROTC in college. Actually, no, I was going to go straight military, so it wouldn't have been ROTC. But either way, continue.
New York Times came out with a report that said there are across hundreds of schools in the country, there are J.R.O.T.C programs that are illegally forcing kids to be in the program and then not allowing them to leave when they want to leave. So it's become like a default. And of course, primarily darker pigmented and lower income neighborhoods. Surprise, surprise, surprise.
But you know how it was originally sold, a lot of those things, right? They were sold like under the same military academy guise of discipline and blah, 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 and blah, blah, blah.
Right. Well, it's always been sold not as it's clearly a recruiting thing. They spend, I think, 400 million on it, but it's always been told it's not a recruiting thing. It's about an empowerment and a betterment.
Yeah.
But it's obviously a recruiting tool. 44% of enlistees in the last few years have come from this program. So what's happening is kids are showing up, freshmen to high school, showing up and seeing it on their schedule, not knowing even what it is. Then they go and they realize, we don't like this, but they're told they have to do it as if it's part of your standard curriculum, which is factually incorrect and is illegal. You have to volunteer to sign up. And what these schools are doing is just defaulting and putting these kids in these programs.
So
and the interesting thing too is I found out it actually helps with budgets because the
military coverage portion of it, yeah.
Yes, the teaching. So they then don't have a teacher salary or a portion for that period. So it incentivizes these struggling schools.
So then I ask you, what's the whatchamacallit? What's the recourse, I guess, if you want to call it that? Like
That's the thing. I don't know if there's going to be any kind of lawsuits or anything. This just came out, right? And then it becomes, yeah, big thing in the New York Times.
Wow. You didn't go, like, we had friends who went to military academies throughout our childhood when they left Jamaica and stuff like that. But I had to wear a uniform, but I didn't go to a military academy, and I got beat.
Larry and Lang, that's where they met.
Arun as well.
Did he?
Yeah. He was apparently a troubled child. Just didn't he didn't do well with mandates and discipline. So he did his own thing, and that's kind of how that played out. All right.
So and what's sad is too is there's another report coming out that there's instances of sexual abuse within J.R.O.T.C. With officers, and it's becoming a little prevalent.
Okay, so here's this is off the top of my head, not really. So just take this for what it is, right? I look at the military, and then I look at churches, and I look at them only in this light. By the way, the church for a long time was like no women, no women, no women. This is all men, and then you had this prevalence of sexual abuse. By the way, against what the church stands for, i.e., homosexuality, but totally fine for the priests and whomever who did this to the kids, by the way, because again, there's very few penalties you've seen to date. Similarly, on the military side, no women, no women, no women, no women, right? I'm the macho man, and this happens in a situation as well. And it would seem to me they would just let women be equitable in the situation. You may not have, now the flip side of that is then you have men going against women and boys, and kind of you're increasing their pool of people to abuse. But I find it interesting that you've gone down this path of saying, hey, we can't have this because we want to be strong men and blah, blah, blah. And then you do the thing that you're supposedly against. That's what gets me, right? I find it stupid, to put it simply. But I don't, because I just don't, maybe it's me. Maybe I just don't understand it. But there seems to be a correlation there that I'm gathering based on legitimately just thinking about this right now. So maybe I'm wrong, but I find it interesting.
You're not wrong. What I find interesting is, of course, the neighborhoods this is happening in, right? It's not happening in private schools. It's not happening in predominantly white neighborhoods.
But it also would happen
because it targets those without the resources to affect change, without the who unfortunately are ignorant and assuming this is just it's standard. We have to do this because if a school tells you you're in this, you have to do it. You think, okay, you do.
No,
without putting intellectual thought into, trying to make change. And even if it is mandatory, what can be done to affect change? So it's all strategic and it's pathetic. It's quintessential American fuckery, for lack of a better word.
Strategery.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did not know that, and I should be more surprised, and I'm not.
And you mentioned sexual abuse. Bill Cosby, 5 more ladies who had previously accused him. It's not as if they're random.
I was going to say, was this new?
No, they previously accused. So New York, I didn't realize this, came out with an act that, if the statute of limitations, which I didn't realize there were for civil lawsuits, if the statute is expired, New York gave a 1-year window from November 24th of 2021. Oh no, I think it's November 24th of this year until November 24th next year, where you can retroactively go back no matter how many years back and file a suit. So these 5 women came out. Previously, they had accused him, but they weren't able to sue him, is my understanding, because too much time had passed. They came out and talked about, one said she was raped, another one said drugged, another one said fondled, all Cosby Show actresses. So they've come out and accused him. Wow. I forgot he was actually released from prison.
I'm not going to lie to you, so right now, I didn't know that he was released from prison. I thought he was still in prison.
And I say I forgot. I'm not even sure if I knew. Yeah.
I literally just, until right now, I thought he was still in prison. So I did not know that. Wow. Okay.
And then people going to prison. You heard about this Hertz scandal? Hertz rental car?
Hertz. Yeah.
Settling for $168 million settlement. So what they were doing was their systems were so messed up that people were getting arrested for being accused of stealing cars where they had not stolen. So many instances of they had extended the rental agreement. They had proof of extensions, but the employees weren't putting them in the system right. Or someone had stolen a car. Hertz then got the car back, then rented it to somebody, but it still was in the system as being a stolen car. Right?
It's so crazy. I rent cars every week, so not every month, I should say. Sorry. So this is crazy to me, but not remotely surprising.
I mean, just imagine being pulled over and there's a warrant, and then it happened with people where they returned the car like they were supposed to. 6 months later, this woman gets pulled over for not wearing a seatbelt, and turns out there's a warrant for her arrest. So there are instances, one individual spent 6 months in jail, another one 29 days, another one 30 days, right? Whoa. So people, what's happening? One person, she missed her nursing school graduation, she lost her job, someone else, then it winds up being on your record, right, until you can get rid of it. People lost employment opportunities. People lost, listen, if you're in jail, you're not working, you're not paying your bills, your housing, like this has dramatically affected people's lives.
Also, you're in jail.
Yeah.
You won't survive.
So I imagine it's a class action suit. It's 168 million. There are only a few hundred people, which Hertz says represents 95% of those affected. So these people are each going to get, if it's equally distributed, over 400,000 each. So
400,000 ain't doing crap for me if I spend 6 months in jail.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, imagine we talk about in another recent episode, mental trauma.
That's what I'm saying,
right?
Bro. Not only that, I'm in jail. It ain't just gonna be mental trauma.
Physical
You
trauma.
feel me? I
Yes.
don't need this in my life, son.
Yes.
That's no, none of that. That's crazy,
Yes.
son. That's crazy,
So
son.
it's just wild that a company can f up like that, this size, and it
Is it
just
though?
it's continuous though. Once it happens a few times, you have to affect change immediately.
Yeah,
You
but
have to.
nobody thinks about this to that level. They don't assume the police situation or whatever else, right? There's a
No,
lot
but
of that.
it's not as if it all happened within 2 weeks. An instance happened, another one happened, and it's gradually happening. So you're seeing it happening with the
With you.
police.
But what companies do, which a lot of people do, is you weigh the pros and the cons and you go, all right, hold up, how much is it going to cost to fix the system? What else do we have going on? One person got this. All right, we can take care of one person, move on. It's not that big a deal, and that's the case, right? So you do it, you 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 do the math, right? That's all you're doing. You're straight doing the math from what it's going to cost you, right? Cost you by way of, okay, this one person is upset, whatever, not going to affect my general sales, not going to affect anything. The overall cost to settle with this person negligible. Boom, we should get to the system, but we have some time. And only when it becomes significant, right? I would also say if one person had filed suit, right, it would have been a situation. The class action is what makes this the thing that Hertz has to address. If it was one person who got whatever else, who knows what the actual correction would be, if any. You know what I'm saying? Because it has to be bigger, right? And that's just the math, right? That's just straight business. That's the math going, hey, it cost me more to address this, right? Speaking of math, right, in this situation, going on a completely different note, entertainment. Did I bring this up last week? You saw Black Adam, right?
Yeah, I actually have it in my notes.
Okay. You saw Black Adam.
Yeah, it was very disappointing.
Yes.
It was very disappointing. But at least the after credits set something up, hopefully, which evidently is not going to happen for two reasons. But
Okay,
go
yes.
on.
Okay, yes. Full
For
circle.
two
All right.
reasons.
So Black Adam is The Rock's venture into superhero DC movies. The movie was mediocre, plain and simple.
Not even.
Storyline was mediocre. CGI was mediocre. The movie's mediocre. The character maybe has some development to it. I didn't know the character existed, but the movie did make me go, "Oh, I got to go see the next one." Right, straight up. Then the end credit scene. Spoiler alert! It reveals that Superman was brought in the mix, and the Superman that was brought in the mix was Henry Cavill, who played Superman in the three movies that involve Superman under the current DC regime, the previous DC regime. Sorry. With DC but the overall story was Black Adam made $300 and some million globally, which means it lost $100 million is what that means, right? Because, by the way, Avatar came out this past weekend. For those whenever this comes out, Avatar came out on delete that. Avatar came out
Recently.
on December 15th, the Thursday. Avatar is slated to make in its opening weekend about $600 million, $570 million.
I didn't like the first one.
You don't like Avatar? I didn't love it, but it was cool. Like that's all it was. It's like going on a giant theme park ride. It's not like it was just something you've never seen before.
And don't go on the one at Animal Kingdom. It made me almost vomit.
I haven't been on a ride in forever. That's a whole different subject matter.
All right, so in all likelihood, they're not going to make.
Not all likelihood. Henry Cavill came out with the thing yesterday saying that he's not reprising Superman.
Yeah, but it was ambiguous. It's not that.
No,
whose decision?
He was brought back into the last movie,
yes,
right, to end the end credit scene to set up for another Superman movie. There's all public talk or whatever.
Yeah.
DC switched the heads at the top of DC, and now it's whatchamacallit?
Two guys we know.
Peter Gunn. I think I'm getting his name right. I could be butchering this, unfortunately.
Yeah, but it's their decision.
James
It's
Gunn,
not his.
Peter Gunn.
Isn't it their decision, not his decision?
Correct, but before they brought him back to do this, to kind of lock their hands in to say, hey, we're going to make this happen because I've now released that there's a Superman Black Adam tie-in. Oh my God, I want to see this, right? So you can get the audience riled up and the audience can be really cool about this and whatever. And then there was talk about doing a Superman movie. The writer's room was being brought together and the whole thingy. And Henry Cavill was like, yep, I talked to DC people. I'm back in. James Gunn is in there. James Gunn did Guardians of the Galaxy, etc. James Gunn is in there now. And Henry Cavill came out with something last night saying, yeah, I'm not doing this anymore. I'm no longer Superman. With that being said, James Gunn has not released anything.
Yeah, but I'm not doing it not by seemingly not his choice.
No, definitely not his choice. No.
They want to go with a younger storyline for Superman.
Correct.
It's a different character, which would coincide with evidently no Black Adam Superman crossover.
Correct. So in essence, whatever we saw Black Adam, right? If this goes the way it went, oops. it's gone, right? The Rock's thought of building a whole superhero dynamic may have all gone away, but we'll soon find out. They'll release a whole DC thing in January about about what their slate looks like and what films they're bringing back and so on. And then we'll get into casting and whatever, because they need to do a slate to see what's happening. James Gunn is really good at doing these films and bringing quote unquote obscure characters to life, i.e. Guardians of the Galaxy, because I know that I sure as hell didn't know these characters even existed, and the movies are fun. So we'll see what happens here, right? But I found that crazy that it lost $100 million because marketing budget, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. No more Henry Cavill, which is also crazy, right? Just because of what they did and what they set up and blah, blah, blah. And DC, again, is just basura. Like, they just managed to crap the bed yet again, unless in January, James Gunn comes out and says, hey, I've got this great idea and we're going to do something really amazing.
Speaking of great ideas, Scottie Pippen's ex-wife, do you know who she is?
I know she's dating somebody younger. Who's she dating? She's dating somebody. That's all I know. And why would I know who she is? I don't know if she's dating somebody young because it came up on the socials. I don't know who she is. So, what's her name?
Speaking of great ideas, Larsa Pippen. She's 48 years old.
Is she dating? Okay.
Her great idea is to date Michael Jordan's son.
That's what it was. Somebody younger. That's what it was. I mean, if there's any way to build a rift, that's one way.
He's 31. She's
How
48.
old is she?
She's 48.
All right.
But again, it's Michael Jordan's son, Scottie Pippen's ex-wife.
You think that would cause a problem?
Well, evidently they have not much of a relationship anyway, Scottie and Michael, at all. It's very contentious. Yeah. And she claimed in her defense.
Her defense?
Or her defense of herself was in Scottie's last year in Chicago is where she met Scottie Pippen. So she didn't really know Michael Jordan well. So for her, it's not a disrespectful thing to anybody, you know.
I mean, yeah, I don't know how to play that card. that one is very interesting. But again, I wouldn't be able to pick her out of a lineup. I don't know what this woman looks like. I don't know what Michael Jordan's kid looks like either, for that matter. So
I don't know what the kid looks like. I know what she looks like.
I wouldn't know what either of these people look like. So. But it is comedic. I'll give you that. It is definitely comedic. Speaking of comedy, you saw your boy Chapelle brought up Elon?
Yes, on stage.
Yeah, so Chapelle has a show. By the way, and I've said it before too, and I got criticized for saying this on TikTok when I was on TikTok for like 2 days, that I don't find Chapelle's comedy to be comedy anymore. I used to think the dude was an amazing orator, great comedian, etc. And now he's just lecturing me and smoking cigarettes and just he makes a mediocre joke and then he smacks the mic on his thigh. And if you watch this, you'll see him do it in like it just more times than can count per thing. He'll say something, he'll smack himself on the thigh because that makes the sound of him like kind of clapping. And back in the day, he would be awesome. He would tell stories and he would just be like amazing. And I don't find it to be that funny. Period. But that's me.
Racist.
Yeah, that was it. That was a criticism I got. Somebody was like, "Oh, because you don't like black humor," and I was like, "Wow, that took a turn because I don't like this one dude." But I used to love this dude, and now I don't. And so he brings up Elon, and people are booing. And when he brings up Elon and Elon and all Elon's awkwardness, you know, is trying to hug him, and it's really, really, really strange. And the response to the booing is for Chapelle to point and saying the booing is coming from the bleachers, meaning people. And he goes, "So none of y'all have any money anyway." I'm paraphrasing, but that's more or less what he said. So in essence, you don't have any money, which is why you're booing Elon. And if you had money, you wouldn't boo Elon. And that again leads me down the path of like, F you, my dude. Like that's a bit much, right? Like F you, right? And I'll go a step further with this and say, I make dumb little, no, they're not dumb. I make little stances that affect me and me only. So this is not something other people do, but I used to want a Tesla. Now I do not. I used to, I used to shop Publix. Now I generally don't. I used to do, so I make little changes for me. Ain't got nothing to do with you. If you don't do you, right? I still love the Tesla, by the way, but I can't buy one anymore.
Get a Lucid.
Yeah, so there's a whole bunch of other cars out there now, luckily, so I'm not locked into the Tesla game, right? But neither here nor there. But then a report comes out yesterday that Twitter has not paid rent at its San Francisco or New York offices, right? for like, I think like a month now, or months plural, whatever it is. Ever since Elon took over, they've not paid rent, and the statement there was it's a cost cutting measure. Now I don't know where you're from, but me not paying rent is not a cost cutting measure, right? You feel me? This is some privileged rich people stuff. Because if you and me don't pay rent and we go, hey, I'm just cost cutting, F off, get out of my house. You feel me? Or get out of the apartment or get out of whatever. It ain't no cost cutting. But that's literally what it's described as, is a cost cutting measure, which I thought was amazing. And I mean, I'm forever impressed by how the wealthy can find ways to rephrase things that if the non-wealthy did, would we be described as just irresponsible, for lack of a better word. So yeah, your boy Elon only finds more and more ways for me to dislike him across the board. And then going after Fauci, F off, dude. Like, why? Yeah, and then his plane. There was a Twitter account and an IG account that would track Elon's plane as it went around the world. It's been around forever.
Yeah, it's a teenager was doing it.
Yeah, and Elon said he would leave it there and whatever. And obviously he didn't leave it there because Elon did what Elon does, and it's gone.
What, he got rid of the account?
Yeah.
Oh, there was negotiations about potentially buying the account before Elon owned Twitter. I didn't know he deleted it.
Yeah, he got rid of the account, and then he got rid of the account, and if you link to it via IG or whatever, he'll delete that because he's done it a few times as well. And then there was something else that he did recently too that also annoyed me. It just annoyed me. So yeah, your boy Elon continues to grind my gears, if you will.
For those who are celebrating Christmas
and celebrating with an R.
What did I say?
Celebrating. I don't know what that is. I know what that is, but sure. I mean, if you're celebrating,
it looks like amidst dating life.
Kaboom. You beat me to it. Well played.
Kaboom. Kwanzaa, Hanukkah, Christmas. It's all this week when you're listening to this. So, do you?
Do you have a menorah in your house?
We do.
And a Christmas tree?
Yeah.
And a Festivus pole?
Yeah, I wish.
Sorry, continue.
I wish. No, that's it. Be better. Eat better. Celebrate better. Pray to God better.
Pray to God better?
Yeah, I just had to.
I didn't believe it. All right, we'll leave it at that.
Spotify. I didn't realize you can leave reviews.
I didn't know.
When we first started the show, you could not. You definitely could not.
By the way, on that note, first started the show. This is episode 94, I believe. We're almost at 100 people.
Yeah,
so the two of you stuck around. We appreciate it.
Please.
Yes, it's been
leave review. Help us out, especially because we occasionally have those struggles with Apple. So if you listen on Spotify, follow the show. Over Christmas, Hanukkah, and Kwanzaa, Amit will update all the missing YouTube videos. Yep. Probably. Yep. Check them out on YouTube, and that's it. Spread the word.
Thank you. If you don't hear from us before the end of the year, have an amazing holiday and New Year, and we will chat in the New Year. And if we happen to do one of these before then, forget I just said that.
Idiot.
Talk soon, everybody.
Cool.